Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle, and you're listening to Numbers Don't Lie, where you learn to get out your feelings so you can make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. Today, guys, I have a special guest, but you know her. She's a part of the Brownstone community. She's one of our neighbors here, grant writer extraordinaire. She also is a federal grant reviewer, so she knows all things grants, eats, breathes, sleeps, grants, and we've been co-hosting a workshop together called Grant Success Unlocked, where we are really trying to equip business owners and nonprofit leaders with the tools that they need to successfully apply for and win grants. I know this sounds good to you, so keep on listening, and while you're listening, share with your colleagues, your peers, and other people that you know that have mission-driven organizations. So I'm going to bring her up without further ado, and we're going to be talking to you guys today about finding a grant for you, understanding the difference between your business and your project. And I know that probably sounds weird and strange, and maybe you've never heard that they're two different things. You're in the right place. Stay tuned. Let's bring up Teresa Pelham, grant writer extraordinaire. Hey, girl,
hey. Hey, how's everyone doing? So honored and glad to be here today.
We're glad you're here.
Yes.
So, Teresa, I introduced you, but I do it because it's like, oh, I know you. And sometimes you just assume everybody know you like that, but they don't. So could you go into a little more detail about who you are so they know how bomb you are?
Hi, everyone. I am the founder and CEO of the Grants Boutique Consulting Firm, where we offer comprehensive grant writing services. We help you find grant funds to change the trajectory of your business and impact your community. Our motto is winning grants to fund a higher purpose.
Hey, come on. I love that. Grants to fund a higher purpose. So that's why I say if you are a mission-driven organization, because a lot of times people think that grants are just for nonprofits, and it's not true. Me and Teresa talk about this all the time, that grants are for everyone. So that's why we want to make sure you can find a grant for you. So, right. Teresa, I know when you and I started doing this, I think that might have been the first time. That's not true, because I actually applied and won grants when I was a teacher. Yes, I was a teacher back in the day, and it was for a project. But when you enter the business world, sometimes you separate things that you know to be true because it's in a different world. Like, oh, that's because I was a teacher. But the idea of funding your project, it may seem strange or sound different. Could you tell us the difference between what it means to kind of fund your whole organization versus a project?
Right. A lot of people or a lot of businesses, when they come to me, they say, oh, Teresa, we need a grant for our business. And I say, well, tell me some of the things that you do. And so sometimes we can find grants right off the bat for a project or something you do in your business. You don't always have to get a grant to fund your whole operations, your whole business. You can find a grant to fund an initiative or a project that you may have. And there are a lot of grants out there. They're government, they're state, they're your local chamber of commerce or local business. Some of your businesses have grants, and they are willing to fund your project. Yeah. Maybe not your whole business, but an initiative or a project that you're doing.
That's good. I love that because I was on live this past week, and that was something that I started talking about. I saw who was watching, and I said, this particular person, I know what you do. This is the difference that you're making in your community. You could totally get a grant for this because you're impacting your community in this way. And I think that was just such they were both like, oh my gosh, wow. Yes. It was strange. So could you give us an example of what that looks like? Oh, you was ready with them. Here's my...
I'm ready. For an example, I'm gonna do an example for a business and a different organization. So I work with a lot of the faith-based community. I work with them to find grants, and a lot of people, they don't want to fund your church. They don't. You get that money through your tithes and your offerings, but they will fund a project. Prime example. we wanted to do a reading program with the local housing authority. They didn't want to give money fund for the whole church operation, but they gave us money to fund a project. We also got $10,000 to fund a summer feeding program for the local housing authority. So you can fund a people, and this is not a foundation, it was just a local business. And I always tell people, when you look for grants, look locally first. Your chamber of commerce, look at all the businesses around there. We didn't even know they give out grants. One of the organizations, one of the businesses, I called and I asked, hey, we're trying to do this in the community. Do you offer any help or do you have any grants? They said, yes, we have a grant.
Okay.
So that's how you do it. That's one way you can fund a project. Then I have some businesses. For example, I know someone who does taxes. Well, she do free taxes for the seniors, and sometimes she do tax courses for small businesses. Well, guess what? She got a grant to do that. She got a grant so she can teach small businesses about accounting and tax preparation. And so you can do that. They didn't fund her whole business. They just funded that one project that she had. So those are some examples.
That's good. And you mentioned like some really good ones, like a common, and then maybe somebody hadn't thought about it. So a church. I mean, most churches are 501c3s already.
Right.
But, some people do, some organizations try to stay away from, religious affiliations. I totally get that. I know my church, we do food and vegetable giveaways every week. And so I love that you mentioned that everyone doesn't want to fund your church. And that's just real. Like,
right.
To be honest. But if you have, like, churches have a lot of programs that happen that maybe other organizations in the community aren't doing. Like I mentioned, we do our food and vegetable giveaway, like fresh fruit and vegetables.
Right.
There's some people that have childcare and they want to be able to like offer scholarships. Some that have senior services. Like I actually went to a church. They had senior homes. Like the church owned, I guess, the land, and they built senior homes. So I'm like, these are all things that people can get behind. It may not be your entire ministry, but if Bank of America could have a plaque on that wall and that senior citizen, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad you brought that up.
Right. And it's so true. Sometimes, and just a little thing for people with childcare. If you have a childcare business and you go to employees, some of the employees through their AFLAC or whatever offer them employee scholarships to come to your center, especially if you have a sick child room, because them employees, the employers want those employees there. And if a child, and I know like some childcare, this room has to be totally separate from the other children. But if you have like a sick child room or sick child thing where you have somebody there with the child, some employees do pay for it, but you have to look at if your state allows that. Yeah, so there are ways that you can get funded. There's a grant out there for everyone and for everything. You just have to take the time to look and see what is out there for you.
There's a grant for you. And I think that was one of the big takeaways that we want the organizations that are coming to our workshops and that are following us to know is that there is a grant for you. And I know you mentioned a CPA, and I was actually on live with the CPA earlier. Was it Sunday? Maybe Saturday or Sunday. And I start talking about, like, I know the work that she does. And that's why you always ask, well, what do you do? Because there's a tendency, like you said, to separate. And once I started telling her, I was like, hey, I know you do this work. You're educating entrepreneurs about how to submit their taxes on time, which means they can stay in business a little longer. They don't have as many fees. You're keeping people in business, and keeping small businesses in business is good for the economy. So I'm just like, if you take that small part of what you do, then you can get a grant. Like, people can get behind supporting entrepreneurs. So I love that you even mentioned CPAs, because I feel like a lot of business owners, especially money people, are not thinking that a grant is for them.
Yeah, it is. You can get grants. You can get, no matter what business you're in. I can tell you that there's some kind of grant out there for you. It may be local, it may be state, federal, foundation, corporate, but there's a grant. That is such a myth that only nonprofits get grants, and that's not true. That's not true. You can get a grant and you can be a for-profit. Remember, we've already talked about this earlier about checking the eligibility. Look at your business or look at the project and see if you are eligible to apply for that grant and apply for it. So you can get a grant with your project. So let me tell you about some of the grants you can get. She can't talk, but I can.
Girl, I could not find my window. It was like buried behind. I'm like, where is it? So people that are listening to audio, you can see my face looking for this window because I have multiple windows. You click one thing, it hides it. Thank you, Teresa.
That's all right. I was going to continue on. I can talk all day about grants.
You know, I was actually wanted to ask you for the strangest example, like the most, I'll say, peculiar example of like a project being funded. Because I know you gave the CPA one. Is there something people be like, are you serious?
I don't even know. I'm trying to think. You know, I'm a little older now. I know we've done food. We've done the workforce development. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not strange, but we another faith-based entity got a grant to work with gang members, and it was their church was doing a project to work with those at risk. Well, I don't like to say at risk because they ain't at risk. Work with underserved youth.
I like that. But you know, somebody else was talking about that. They don't like to say at risk. Yeah,
I don't like that. They're not at risk. If we get the right tools and stuff, they're good. That's somebody's child. We love them. So underserved children, youth. And so that was, they got funded for a project for that. Then I got someone who used dance, and they got funded for their project working with underserved youth and dance. So that, I mean,
I love that.
You got a grant for something. But your grant, when you look for a grant for your project, you have to tell me how your project is going to impact the community. That's what we do. A lot of people come to me and say, oh, I want to do this business. And I ask them, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
Then tell me. And then I'll broaden that. How does that impact the community? Tell me. Who do you serve? What's your target population? You know, I'll go into it. And that's how you can find a grant for your project.
I love that. So I want to start this kind of a small little checklist or inventory. What are like some basic questions that an organization can start to ask themselves to get to the heart of, like, am I really serving the community? Is this something that another organization could get behind? Like, what's a couple of questions that they can begin to ask themselves?
And I'm so glad you brought that up. One thing is, a lot of people out there and they have the heart to help their community. But one thing, the first thing I want you to see is for you to do is write down what you want to do. How do you want to help? Second thing, you need to look and see if somebody else is doing that in your community. That's the second thing. If they are, you need to look and see, are they actually doing the same thing you want to do, or are they doing something differently? And then you need to contact them and see if you can do a partnership. Now, some people do want to do partnerships, some people don't. It's okay. But you're going to go out there and see if you can partner with them or if you all can help each other. And okay, after you do that, and you find out, hey, this is a need, or maybe there's not anyone to do that, then you need to give me some numbers. And that's where the data doc come in. You need to tell me how many people you're going to impact, who you're going to impact, what's the gender, what's the race, all the demographics. You need to give me those numbers. Are they living below the poverty level? Are they, and the reason why we do this, it strengthens the need to have your project in the area. Okay.
That's good. Real quick, I want to remind you guys are listening to Numbers Don't Lie on KCCR Cityscape Radio. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. You could be any place else. We appreciate you guys for being right here with us. I have my special guest and partner, Teresa Pelham, grant writer extraordinaire, and we're talking about finding a grant for you. And so we actually did on the heels of our Grant Success Unlocked workshop. And we have been, doing this for a couple of months now. And so we have something that's really special that we know you would love. So we're actually going to be selling the replay. We want to give you access to that. And it's not just the replay. It's the replay. It's the workbook, which we got really great reviews on. Also, it is a list of 100 plus grants, but don't take my word for the VIP. Listen in to Paulette, who's actually the owner of Brownstone Worldwide.
GrantSuccessUnlocked.com. I actually did take the first class and I paid for the VIP and it was worth every penny. I thought, wait a minute, if this, what y'all finna, hold up. I literally could not believe how much information you all dropped. I think people need to understand how serious this is, and the information that you all provide comes with years of experience. This is not anything that should be taken lightly at all, period. I keep thinking back to when Teresa was giving some of the information. Y'all, for those of y'all who take the class, you don't have to. First of all, I don't know if you all, since it's a free class, I don't know if you're going to be giving away the replay or not. But y'all, I was literally like this with my camera. Oh, I hope they don't see that. I hope they don't see that because I was screenshotting. The information was so good. I was like, yo.
No, she had access. She still has access to the replay. So that is so funny.
I'm not kidding. I can show. I got proof. I got social proof right here. It's in my phone.
Yeah. So she attended one of our first ones, and so she talks about how beneficial it was to be a part of the VIP. And so we want to extend that opportunity to you guys. So you can just go to grantsuccessunlocked.com/VIP-now, grantsuccessunlocked.com/VIP-now. If you just Google grantsuccessunlocked.com, it'll come up. There's a QR code that's up there. But it's only $47. You get access to the workshop as well as a hot seat that happened immediately after the workshop, the workbook that accompanies it. So you can actually listen and pause and fill out the workbook. That's actually a small bonus to listen on replay because you can stop it and rewind it. But it allows you to think critically about your organization and understanding, like, who am I really impacting? Who am I targeting? We go through everything that we're talking about right now through this replay. You can grab that workbook, grab the replay, as well as 100 plus grants that you can start applying to today, where you can implement what we're teaching on that replay like immediately. So grantsuccessunlocked.com/VIP now. And I'm glad that we featured Paulette, who is the owner of Brownstone Worldwide, because if you're not plugged into Brownstone Worldwide, make sure you do. Head on over to brownstoneworldwide.com. Check out the other podcasts that's on the network, as well as the store, the magazine, Brownstone Living.
Right.
It's the bomb over here, okay? You can become a neighbor. Teresa's a neighbor. Right. I'm a neighbor.
Yeah. Right. And I have grant tips and grant ideas and suggestions in the magazine. So you better subscribe. Listen out on all the goodies.
Why not? Just go to brownstoneworldwide.com to subscribe to the magazine. All the great things. Just on over there and take a look.
Right. And I just want to mention about the bundle that you just displayed. The workbook alone is great. because I've given you all a lot of free stuff in there. I've got your free grant readiness checklist. I even got questions in it. We put questions in that book, the workbook, to guide you on what you need to put in each section of a grant proposal.
Mm-hmm.
So the workbook alone is gold.
It's the bomb. I mean,
Yeah.
what you waiting on? grandsuccessunlock.com/VIP-now. I mean, get on over there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about some inventory that organizations can take in order to determine like if this is a project that someone else will really fund. You were talking about collaborations and partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to go ahead and pick up. I hope I didn't like lose your train of thought.
No, you did. That's one thing about funders. Funders love to get the biggest bang for their bucks, and they love collaboration. So even if you may have several organizations that may doing the same thing or something similar, it's good to have collaboration and
Mm-hmm.
partnerships because you all can go together and apply for a grant as well. You don't have to do it just for yourself, but as a collaborative consortium, you can apply for a grant.
That's good.
Um,
Hold on, let's park right there because I don't think people really have thought about that. If you offer like something that's could benefit someone else, or like I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, so the young lady that was on the live stream, she does I don't want to minimize what she does, but she's a nail tech, but her pedicure is focused on people that have chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes. And
mhm,
so, and even people that do any type of work on your body that people with chronic conditions benefit from. So if you do massages, chiropractic work, all those things, if you can find an organization that caters to those chronic conditions and have them add you on, like
mhm,
that's a really great partnership. And I think it stand out as fairly unique as well, because if this is a huge maybe well-known nonprofit and they add on a nail tech that specializes in foot care for diabetic patients, I mean, like,
mhm.
who's doing that?
Right. So, working together with like other businesses or other organizations, it can contribute like different skills and knowledge and
Mm,
experiences to the proposal, which strengthens the proposal really.
mm-hmm.
um Also, collaboration can help paint a more accurate picture of the needs of the project that it aims to address. So you always want to have collaboration. I always tell people, you write a grant, make sure you have a list of collaborators that
I
you
love
do.
that.
It helps you build credibility. So collaboration has a lot of benefits.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to let you know it has a lot of benefits to collaborate.
So those that are listening now, and whether you're listening on replay, I really want you to like take the time right now or either immediately after this episode to really think about that stuff, because it already challenged you to think about separating a project from your entire business. Think
Mhm.
about your offerings and your services, those particular demographics that maybe you want to serve. I know for me, I want to serve startups, but startups can't always afford your prices. But if you know you want to serve that particular niche, a grant is a great way to supplement that income so you can serve them. So I want you to
Mhm.
think about who you really want to serve, your services, but also who is in your community that you can partner with. So those are already three things that can help you better prepare yourself to apply for a grant. You don't have to do it all by yourself. That's why we're talking about partnerships. And that's why we're talking right now, because this is the work that Teresa and I do.
One thing when I talk about funding a project, as well as funding your business, one thing people don't do is their research.
Ooh.
They don't. They don't do your research. There are different types. They have you walk around with blinders on side so you can't look. And I always tell people to broaden their scope, broaden your sight. Do your research. Don't just look at local. I say always start with local, but don't just look at local. Go to state, go to corporate, look at foundations, do government, you know, broaden your horizon, do your research. Um, Also you need to make sure like you have relationship with the funders. Um, a lot of time people they don't do that. I have no problem of calling up a funder, and because I do it all the time and say, hey, I have this project. And I see that your mission or your priorities, that's what a lot of them call, says this. Do you mind if I tell you a little bit about my project and see if we are a good fit for your funding? I don't want to waste your time, and reviewing something that I know won't fit. They eat it up. They eat it up. So I'm giving y'all, that's a little hint right there. Hint, call the funder. Contact, even send them an email. Any grant, they always have an email or a phone number, or you can Google who the contact person is. So I always do that, especially if I'm doing a grant for a project. I always call the funder, and I always, tell them, yeah, your priority says this. I think I might be a good fit, but do you mind if I explain my project to you? That's all you have to do.
Y'all, let me tell y'all.
Use the tip.
If y'all have not been on a workshop with Teresa, she has so many tips and tricks that you would not think to do had like someone like her like not told you. So that's another reason for you to grab that replay, because it's so much that she has not said. So many opportunities and just avenues to acquire grant funding that our previous attendees, they were just like, what? Like Paulette still talks about to this day. I'm gonna get this one away and I'll be quiet. She still talks about to this day how you can go to your local library and ask about funding. And she's like, you gotta be careful now, maybe be a little persistent. She said, because sometimes they don't even know.
Right.
But it's there, like there's somebody that knows. What she said, it's a book. She said it's a website.
Yeah.
She said it's
it's called Foundation Directory Online. It has all the foundations in it. Most of the local libraries have it. I live in a small community, so we don't have it, but the neighboring town does. Or you have a community college or something on your campus. Just go there and say, hey. A lot of times they don't let you check it out. You have to use it as part in the library as part of the resources.
Oh,
but that if you want it on your own, it's over $1,000. You can go to the library, and I guess I shouldn't say that. Sorry, Candy. Sorry, Foundation Directory Online. Some people do purchase it. I purchase it, but you all that's not grant writers who may want to use it one or two times, go to the local library and get it.
That's good.
Foundation Directory Online.
That's good. Teresa, I so appreciate you joining us. Y'all, she gonna be here regularly, okay? So she's very much integrated in the Brownstone community, and her and I, what we do works together so well. So this won't be the last time you hear from her. Teresa, tell us where they can find you. I know we have your email up here, the admin at grantsuccessunlock.com. Is that okay for them to email you there?
You can email me there.
Okay, I'm gonna put it up.
You can see me on LinkedIn, Teresa Pelham. I'm on LinkedIn. I also am on Facebook, the Grants Boutique.
I love that. The Grants Boutique on Facebook. Or admin at
email me at admin at the Grant Success Unlock, or hit me up on LinkedIn.
I love that. I love that. So guys, again, thank you for tuning in. Be sure that you head over to grantsuccessunlock.com/VIP-now to grab your replay to the latest workshop. It definitely will bless your life. You get a list of 100 plus grants to go with it as well. And then make sure you follow me, Dr. Michelle, on all things Mogul Beginnings. That's MOGUL, all things Mogul Beginnings. That's Instagram and Facebook, everything. And I have tips and tricks as well. Anything else, Teresa?
That's it. Just get the replay, and hopefully you join us next time, because we're gonna have a big secret to give you.
But we gotta talk about this offline.
We got a big secret to give you, something good.
I love a good secret. So make sure you guys join us. But you gotta come. And then make sure you check out brownstoneworldwide.com for all other things Brownstone. And until next time, see you guys.